comedy friends. Hello. This is the 7th anniversary of the Edge Comedy Club's first show, so thank you for being here. Give it up for yourselves, guys. You've been great so far. And give it up for Dave Odd, your host tonight. He's been fantastic. I admire Dave. He's been supportive of my comedy. He's taken me to magical and wonderful places like Morris and the other 2 theaters in this building where comedy performs. So thank you, Dave. The New Talent Night. I love performing at the New Talent Showcase. I've done this 4 or 5 times now. I still remember my first one. It was very similar to my first sexual experience. I was really nervous, and it was awesome. I didn't go as long as I wanted, and I was sweating everywhere, and there was laughter. But the New Age Showcase, it's a good way for comics to kind of get their start and to go somewhere, because every comic has this kind of goal, this timeline where they want to go. And I thought what I would spend my time on this evening before we go is kind of explaining what I think that comic timeline is, like what the goals they want to achieve are. So it starts, New Comic Showcase at the Edge Comedy Club, so that's very exciting. And then like maybe you like open for a comedian, and then maybe you like headline in the city somewhere, and then maybe you're like in a van with some other comedians. It smells like bong resin and Cheetos and urine. And at that point, like you've kind of established a name for yourself, so maybe occasionally you'll get like a hand job from a slightly overweight, kind of attractive girl. And then you go on to the next stage, like maybe you make a record or you're on TV somewhere. And at that point, you're famous enough where you can definitely bone models from the JCPenney catalog. That's very cute. And then at that point, maybe you take a movie role. Maybe you're like Ben Affleck's wacky best friend, which is great. Because there are lots of girls who will do anyone to meet Ben Affleck. Lauren's in the back. And then maybe you take the next step and, like you start to get like really famous. And that's just great because then you're just ridiculously rich. Like, you can buy a tiger rich, you can adopt African babies, not like to raise, but that tiger needs something to eat. Babies are a delicious source of protein. And then, you're so famous and everyone wants a piece of you, and like PETA is coming after you because you're wearing clothes made out of baby seals that you've clubbed yourself, and human rights activists are after you because you're wearing clothes made out of Tibetan monks that you've clubbed yourself, which actually is a great way to be a fan of the Chinese government, so that's very cool. And then maybe you get to that point where like everything's great and you have your one little slip up, like you're at a Democratic fundraiser and you're like, a woman thinks she can be president? That's not gonna. Next you'll tell me a black guy. What? Maybe you'll do a one-man portrayal of The Sound of Music entirely in blackface for some reason. And then from there you try and get it back. Like you go on Oprah and you talk about how you find religion, but then someone tells you that believing the TV show Lost is real. That's not an actual religion. And then your wife leaves you because she finds you, smoking dope and making out with Haley Joel Osment. So in defense, he has really soft lips. And then, you've got to keep the drug habit going, so you sell your Fabergé eggs, and then you realize that Fabergé chicken you bought was bullshit. And you're just spiraling out of control. Like, you try and regain credibility. You're on, like, VH1's obnoxious, relegated celebrity douchebags doing stupid things, but you lose to the guy who was Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. And then you're at the point where like even Amy Winehouse says you may have a problem and that you're a bad role model for children. So then you go into rehab and then you get thrown out of rehab because I guess blowing a janitor for dope is not one of the 12 steps. And then finally you're on the bottom and you get yourself back up and then you come back to the New Comedy Showcase at the Edge Comedy Club. So yeah.